Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Brittany. I am a wife and a mother and a lover of all things makeup and skincare. So today I'm going to be doing my Shop My Stash. So I do this video every single month. If you do not know what a Shop My Stash is, I basically just go through the products in my collection and pick a few products that I'm going to be focusing on for the month so that I can get some more use out of my products. I have a quite large collection of makeup, so I want to make sure that I'm actually using every single product in my collection, and this is just a great way for me to do it. So the first half of this video, I'm going to be showing you the products that were in my last month's rotation, telling you how many times I used all of them, and I'll also show you some of the makeup looks that I created with the palettes that I picked. And then once we get through all of that, I'm going to take you back to my drawers and we're going to pick out some new products for this month that I will be focusing on. And I'm very excited because I have quite a few products that I'm really excited to put into my Shop My Stash this time around. So yeah, if you would like to see what products I'm going to be putting in my Shop My Stash, then go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so if you've watched my Shop My Stash videos before, you will have seen that I like to put how many times I used each product in my Shop My Stash into my bullet journal. Well, I have now switched over to my iPad. My husband got me this iPad for our anniversary, and so it has all of the, it's probably harder to see because it's on an iPad, but yeah, it just has all of the uses. It helps me keep track and actually see that I'm actually using the products that I put in my Shop My Stash and not just putting them in and having them sit there. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with my eyeshadow palettes. So I actually put 3 eyeshadow palettes into my Shop My Stash. These are the 3 of them. I chose very pastel colors because I was super in the springy mood this past month, and I'm very happy I put these in. So let's go ahead and start with the one that I used the least, and that is the Juvia's Place The Deuce palette. I only used this 5 times. I think it's just because the color story, it's a little bit strange. Like, it's only 9 shades and I feel like you can only get a few like looks with it. The color story is just a little bit strange for me, and I didn't realize how strange it was until I had these other 2 pastel palettes in my Shop My Stash. I still like this palette just fine. I feel like the mattes in here are so beautiful and pigmented, and the shimmers are obviously gorgeous, but yeah, I just didn't get a ton of use out of it, so that was unfortunate, but it is what it is. So next is this Colourpop and Hello Kitty and Friends palette. This is called the Snow Much Fun palette, and this is a super cute palette, but again, I kind of had the same problem where there's only like really 3 looks you can get with this. It's also very muted. The deepest shade in this palette is this one here, which is called Snowwear, and I feel like that's not that deep once you actually start blending it out. I ended up using this 7 times though, and I did like all of the looks that I created with it, but yeah, it's just a little bit meh of a palette. And then the third palette that I put into my Shop My Stash was the Glamlight Ice Cream Dream palette. I used this 10 times, and guys, I love this palette. This has literally become one of my top 10 favorite palettes just since I put it in the Shop My Stash. I love this color story. I love all of the looks that I created with it. I'll make sure to pop them up for you guys to see there. I created so many gorgeous pastel looks. I just loved it. I love the versatility of this palette. I actually did a few super neutral looks with this as well, which is amazing. I did a little bit of a deepy vampy look, and then obviously a lot of pastels and a lot of rainbow, and guys, I love this palette. I love it. Like, if my whole collection just disappeared tomorrow, this would be the first palette that I'd go buy. I love it that much. Like, I just really enjoyed using this palette this past month. All right, let's get on to the face products. So for foundation, I put in the Oma Say What Weightless Soft Matte Foundation. I used this 10 times, and I do like this foundation quite a bit. I did notice though that it is thicker than I remember it being. I don't know if the formula is just changing or if it's just that I just didn't remember it correctly, which that wouldn't surprise me at all, guys. That would not surprise me at all. But yeah, it's a little bit of a thicker foundation. So I found myself mixing this with the foundation that's in my project pan, which is the Colourpop Tinted Moisturizer, which is a very light coverage foundation. I found that mixing these 2 together seemed to be like the perfect like coverage for me, made it a nice medium and natural finish foundation, and I really liked that. So this is a good foundation, but I definitely feel like I'm going to be mixing it the next time that I use it as well, because yeah, it's a little bit more full coverage than I typically go for nowadays, so It's good though. I mean, it's a fine foundation, but I noticed that while using it. So next I put in this Colourpop highlighter. This is the Part of Your World highlighter, which is part of the Disney Designer Collection. I ended up using this 10 times as well. I really do like this highlighter. It's so beautiful. It's very blinding. I feel like it blends very nicely, and I'm surprised that it hasn't dried out yet. I've noticed that a lot of like Colourpop products that are in these kind of containers tend to dry out. This is a Super Shock highlighter, and their Super Shock shadows and things like that just tend to dry out quicker, but this one is still going strong, so pretty happy about that. Next, I have this Tower 28 blush. This is their Beach Please blush in the shade Magic Hour. I used this 11 times, and this is just such a good blush. I've talked about this blush countless times. It's one of my favorites. I just love the shade. I feel like it is the perfect spring color, so I was reaching for it quite a lot, and I really like how it blends. If you are new to cream products, I would suggest trying these Tower 28 blushes because they do blend very easily. You don't have to be an expert in cream products to know how to use these, and I just really like them. Okay, I actually had 4 different primers in my Shop My Stash, and I used each of these 7 times, so I'm just going to quickly go over them. But yeah, I received a lot in PR, so I just had a lot to kind of work through. The first is this Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer. This was really nice, a good pore diffusing primer. Like if you need a primer for minimizing your pores, I did quite enjoy this. Next was this Touch in Sol Glassy Skin Balm. This was my favorite out of the 4 primers. I just feel like it made my skin look so nice. My makeup lasted so much longer whenever I used it, and it was just so beautiful on the skin. I felt like it was nice and moisturizing and just everything I look for in a primer. Next, I have the No Problem Priming Water. This I like, but it is a little bit messy because it is a very liquidy product. Like you have a little dropper, and so it's very liquidy, and that was kind of my only issue with it. I felt like it was a good primer, made my makeup last a little bit longer, but just a little bit messy. And then lastly, I have this Touch in Sol Feel Like Honeymoon Skin Base. I have the same problem with this that I had with this primer, where it's just a little bit messy. This one is a little bit stringy of a consistency, so it's just kind of a little bit weird, but I did actually really like this. I think it's a great primer if you can get past the kind of weird consistency at the beginning. It also does have these little gold flecks in it, but you don't actually notice them once you like blend them onto your skin, but that's just something to take note of. But I did like this. But out of the 4, my favorite is definitely this Glassy Skin Balm. It is so good. Okay, so 2 other Touch in Sol products that I added to my Shop My Stash this time around was the Metalist Liquid Glitter Topper. I used this 6 times. It's just a nice glitter that doesn't like flake all over your face, which I appreciate. And then the Pretty Filter Mattish Liquid Eyeshadow. I used this 7 times, and I just really liked it for like a one and done type of shadow. I actually use these together quite a lot, where I just blend this all in my crease and all over my lid, and then I would top it with the glitter, and it just was so nice. So definitely a fan of both of these. I didn't use this one quite as much because I just don't use glitter every day. That's just not my kind of go-to look, but I did enjoy them. All right, so next I have these Salt New York cream products. I have 4 of them, 2 blushes here, a highlighter and a bronzer. I used this little palette 13 times. I didn't use every single shade 13 times, like I would switch it up or just use a bronzer one of the days, just use the bronzer and highlighter, just use the blush, but I did use this palette 13 times. And if you saw my speed reviews and low buy update video, I talked about my thoughts on Salt New York. I am no longer supporting Salt New York, but at the same time, I do really enjoy these products. I think they're very nice, but I just wouldn't purchase from them in the future. And if you would like to know kind of like the full thoughts on that, I will have that video linked below and also up here in the eye. But I did like these, and I'm sad that I can't give them like a rave review because they're actually so good. They're really good products. Okay, lastly, let's go on to the lip products. I had 4 lip products in my Shop My Stash this last time around. This is the Pixi Matte Last Liquid Lip in the shade Matte Beige. I actually used this 10 times. This shade is seriously perfect for me, and if you are somebody that is looking for a matte liquid lipstick that is not drying and not uncomfortable, then I would highly suggest these. They're just so good. I have quite a few. All of them were sent to me through Pixi, but I just really like them, and I reach for them quite a lot, and this one clearly I reached for 10 times. That's pretty good for having 4 lip products in my Shop My Stash in only 1 month, you know? So really liked this. Okay, so next I have this Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss. I used this 10 times as well. This is such a good gloss. It is a little bit sticky, I noticed. I remember when I gave it like my initial review of it, I said that it wasn't sticky, and now that I've used it quite a few more times, I feel like it is slightly sticky, but not uncomfortable sticky, but it does have that little bit of a tackiness from the gloss. But I really like it. I do feel like it makes my lips look a little bit more smooth, and it lasts a decent amount of time for a gloss. We all know glosses just don't last that long on your lips, but I really did like this one quite a lot. Okay, so next I have this Colourpop Luxe Lipstick in the shade Hades. This is from the Disney Villains collab, and I just love this lipstick. I have actually used it 7 times, and I just feel like the color is really nice. I actually have it on my lips today. It's just such a beautiful color, and it's one that I definitely could never see myself decluttering because I just really do like the color quite a lot. And then lastly, I have this Beauty Bakery Bite Size Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Nude Chilla. I only used this 5 times, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to be decluttering this liquid lipstick. It is just so drying on my lips. It felt like my lips were the Sahara Desert every time I used this. Even when I topped it with this Lawless gloss, this gloss was not enough to get rid of that like dry feeling. And then if I applied just a little bit too much, it would start like getting that like flakiness on the inside of my lips, and it was not good. I love this shade so much, and I love Beauty Bakery. My favorite foundation of all time is from Beauty Bakery, so I'm really sad to say this. I have been wanting to try their liquid lipsticks for years, and I'm really glad I got as many of it because I would have been pretty disappointed if I would have gotten a full size and I would have hated it as much as I do. Yeah, it's just not for me. If you're somebody that loves that super matte liquid lipstick that doesn't go anywhere, that's a little bit drying, then you'll probably love this, but it's just not for me personally. And it's so sad because the shade is spectacular and Beauty Bakery products are so good. So I can't recommend this one, but if you've been wanting to try Beauty Bakery, they have so many good products, but this one's just not it for me. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go put all these products back into my drawers, and then I will take you to my drawers and we'll pick out the products for my next Shop My Stash rotation. Okay, so let's start here with my first drawer. I know I'm going to be pulling out my Tower 28 Bronzino. This is the shade Suncoast. This is very new to my collection, so I definitely want to get some more use out of it. And then I also think I'm going to be adding in this Pixie highlighter. This is the Glowy Gossamer Duo in the shade Delicate Dew. So yeah, I think that's all that I'm going to be picking from this drawer because I have some more blushes in another drawer that I want to pick from. Okay, so in here I have some new Pixie blushes that they just sent over. So I'm going to be picking these two. These are their On The Glow blushes. So I'm going to put in the shade Juicy and the shade Floor. I'm not going to add the third one just because I know that that's going to be way too many blushes to pick from. But yes, I'm going to pick these two. And then I'm also going to be putting in this little Kaja trio. This is their Play Bento trio, and it has a blush, highlighter, and a bronzer. So I'm going to be adding in this lightest shade. I'm not going to use the other two because they're a little bit too dark for me. So I'm going to be passing those along pretty soon. But yes, I'll be adding this in. Then as far as single shadows, I am going to be adding in this Danessa Myricks matte single shadow in the shade Desert Rose. So this is also fairly new to my collection and I want to get some more use out of it. So I'm excited to add that in. And I think that's pretty much going to be it for this drawer. Okay, so here are all of my eyeshadow palettes. I'm first going to be adding in the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. This is the newest palette to my collection and it is so beautiful and I definitely want to get some more use out of it. So that is what she looks like. And then somewhere back here, yes, here she is. I have this Flamingo palette from Violet Voss. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. I'm going to be adding that in because it's very summery and I can get a lot of use out of it, I know, so I'm very excited to play with this some more. And then that's actually all I'm going to be adding from this drawer just because I am going to be getting in another palette here in a few days, so I want to be able to use that one. And yeah, let's move on. Alright, so here are my liquid lipsticks. And I think the only shade that I'm going to be adding in is this Dose of Colors liquid lipstick in the shade Lazy Daisy. It's a very pretty shade, so I definitely want to get some use out of that. And actually, let's add in this NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade Stockholm. It's so, so beautiful, so definitely could get some use out of that as well. Alright, so here's my lip gloss drawer. I'm going to be putting in this Estate Lip Icing in the shade Down, because I haven't actually played with this much yet, so I'm going to be adding that in. Sorry, I just really want to focus on this lip gloss. There we go. That's what it looks like. And then that's going to be pretty much it from this drawer. Okay, so in this drawer I'm just going to be adding in one primer, and that is going to be my No Problem primer. I have used this, actually a full size of this, completely up. I really, really do love this primer quite a lot. So I'm going to be adding that in. And then I'm going to be adding in this Rare Beauty lipstick. This is in Thankful. It is their Dewy Lip Balm. And the shade is so beautiful. So it's a nice neutral shade. Sorry, there we go. And it's so pretty. So I'm going to be adding that in as well. So this is where I keep all of my foundations. And I'm just going to be adding one in. And that is this Kosas Tinted Face Oil. So yeah, I'm just going to be adding this in. I do really, really like this foundation, and that's pretty much it from my foundations. Okay, so here's where I keep all of my Shop My Stash and Project Pan items. This is all my Project Pan items, and now I'm just going to do a little speed through of me putting in my new Shop My Stash items into my little organizer. So there it all is done. I'm sorry that I had to cut out the audio, but my son was crying, so you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, that's all of it all put together. All right, guys, so that was everything. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment down below. Let me know what you want to see from my channel in the future. I have gotten quite a few new subscribers here in the past few weeks, and I just want to know what you guys are interested in, what excites you to watch as far as makeup content is concerned, because I am obviously a teeny tiny little channel. So any advice you can give, I would very much appreciate it. Make sure to like this video before you go and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a few days with another video. Bye, guys.